Welcome back, everyone, to the Spider Bros podcast. I am a guy, a spider guy. My name is Grayson, and with me is Comic Blast Keenan.
Your Spider
Keenan, what's
Bro.
up, dude? I am Spider Bro 1, you're Spider Bro 2.
I'm not sure how I
Peter
became number
3!
two. Yeah. Hey, that's a good callback. Like that.
I got you, bro.
Um,
Keenan, we've been gone for a while, all right? We've been
yeah,
gone for about a month.
yeah.
And I feel the need to explain to everyone. I'm gonna be straight up. Performance wise and figuring out on where this podcast belongs has not been easy. So we had to kind of re-strategize on where it was going to be suitable to place it at. So hopefully all works out. We should be listening to this on Spotify now, and hopefully you're seeing our faces as well. We had to kind of figure out it just how it was impacting Keenan's videos, and it just wasn't reaching a lot of people. So we're hoping that Spotify is the way to go. But Keenan knows more about it than I do.
So a little bit of miscommunication on this part. So that
Oh, okay.
okay. So here we go. To all my YouTube subscribers, we deeply appreciate you guys. And I think that the actual support on the podcast has been like tremendous for very long form video to almost match my regular videos that are like 3 to 5 minutes long has been pretty awesome. So we definitely appreciate it. We kind of went back and forth as to whether or not we're going to keep the podcast on YouTube
Yeah.
because there's just some weird algorithm things behind it. But I think that we're just going to do the YouTube thing as well as Spotify to give other people that option. I did not communicate this to Grayson yet at all. So when we started making the podcast and uploading it to my channel, I noticed that like my other views weren't or my other videos weren't performing as well as they had been. But now that I look at it, I honestly think it's just like there's a lot of competition for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Like we started the channel or the podcast around the time that the trailer was about to drop. And then since then, everybody's covering Marvel Spider-Man 2, where it used to just kind of be me and a few other people doing
Yeah.
it like very actively. So there's just like higher competition, which is fine. That's totally fine. I don't really care super like much about the views, but I do want like I don't look at the views as like a way to be like, oh, everything's going great. I look at it
Yeah.
like, oh, are people not liking this as much? So it makes me kind of just like, reassess where the content is on my channel and stuff like that. But I think that like some of them are getting like 2,000 listens, which is big time. That's more than our podcast had when we did the Comic Blast podcast. So for the most part, sometimes we had some episodes that were pretty high. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Just appreciate you guys keeping up
Yeah.
with the podcast, and we'll continue to do it on YouTube as well as Spotify for people who just want to listen to it or watch it
Yeah.
on video form on Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah. And then beyond that, Keenan also he went through a bit of a tragedy, and so he had to take care of some personal stuff. So between that and that, it's been a rough spot, but we're bouncing back because now we got the story trailer at San
Yeah.
Diego Comic-Con, which is probably the biggest piece of media information content drop since the gameplay reveal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot to discuss. They held the panel, San Diego Comic-Con. Unfortunately, was not live streamed. We heard a little bit about it. I'm currently off Twitter right now, so Keenan might know a little bit more than I. But then they dropped the trailer, which is kind of the meat of this discussion.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you need to want to mention regarding the like maybe some stuff that was revealed in the panel, possibly?
I mean, there was quite a few nuggets from what I kind of saw. I mean, like I said, we didn't get to watch the panel, so there was just like little tweets here and there from people that were actually there. But there's like some small things from what I've kind of heard and seen. Tony Todd was just a delight and definitely got people hyped for his version of Venom. Yuri did the Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire dance on stage, which people
Or
really
that?
enjoyed. But there's just been, a lot of people just speaking highly of like the process behind making the game and how much, how easy it was to all work together. And I think that they've definitely revealed a lot, but they're also keeping some secrets, and trying to not reveal some huge things. So yeah, I wish I could speak more to the panel, but obviously we weren't there, so it's pretty unfortunate.
Maybe one day when Spider-Man 3 comes out, that's
Mm-hmm.
where we'll be. For now, we're in our living rooms.
In
doing our
5 more
regular
years,
job.
when I'm 36 years old, I will be at San Diego Comic-Con.
And I'll be almost 30.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, so let's talk about this trailer. You dropped a reaction and a breakdown on your channel. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Let's. I don't know. I'm gonna let you tackle this because I really don't even know where to start. Should we go beginning to end or just start spewing off stuff?
This is the best trailer I've ever seen. No, no, I like this trailer hit all the spots that I really wanted to see. There's controversy as always with anything Spider-Man. There's some debate online. We might even get into a little bit of a debate here on this show. But overall,
we will.
Yes. Overall, this trailer was, I mean, is shut up all the people talking about the graphics and visually how it looks, I think.
Crazy. It's crazy.
I've mentioned before over and over, I've made videos, like wishlist videos over and over. And the more that I see from this game, the more I see like Insomniac tackling like all these things that I've had on wishlist videos. And it gets me so excited from the get-go. I love that they're establishing this relationship between Harry and Peter as a very important part of the game. And Insomniac devs have been hyping up their relationship as well, because that was a concern of mine going into this game, because we hadn't had any time spent with Harry in the first game. There's a lot of work to do with establishing that relationship between Peter and Harry, while also balancing out Peter's other relationships in this game. So to see that they're making that a focal point, especially in this trailer, definitely got me hyped. I thought that Harry looked really good. I think that Peter almost looks the same, just a little bit more muscular. The hair looks a little bit different, but he pretty much looks the same to me as the remastered version. Looks a little bit better graphically, but Miles looks incredible. I love the new hairstyle. His actual facial capture looks really good in this game. But one of the establishing shots, I'm just going on a long ramble here, but one of the establishing shots early on in the trailer shows that New York City skyline, and it's got this brand new skybox with this brand new lighting that we haven't seen from Insomniac in New York, and it looks so realistic. And that's one thing that I've had on my wish list before, is that I want realistic lighting from the sky, dynamic lighting, and weather. And they definitely established that in just one of the opening shots, along with that shot at Coney Island, Coney Park, but Coney Island. And there's the moon, and it's so well lit in the clouds. It's just beautiful and stunning. I can go on and on about this trailer because it blew me away visually. It really set the tone for what we're getting in this game. I think it confirms that Harry Osborn is going to be Venom in this game. It just did so much for me. I'm sure we're going to get into it, but overall, you can see how excited I personally am on this trailer. I think it was flawless. It got me so hyped for the game.
Yeah, I honestly, you said everything. The thing that got me the most hyped, and it was already a screenshot that was revealed 2 days prior, but then the actual scene itself was the final scene.
Yeah.
And that, dude, Venom looks so good. Tony Todd sounds so good. The design is so good, man. He's on that helicopter, he jumps down, and he just does that theme, that snarl, and I was like, that is Venom. That is Venom right there. You, Sony, I hate your stupid Venom movies.
Well, he's having fun being destructive. He wants nothing more than just and somebody, I think either Bill Roseman or Brian Intihar actually said that Venom wants to kill Spider-Man in this game. That's his mission.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
And I'm and I talked about this, and I think we're pretty much on the same page with this. I'm personally kind of so burnt out on the Lethal Protector version of Venom, and I'm just I want the most villainous Venom you can possibly give me. I want the violence. I want him to want to kill Spider-Man. And as I'm playing Spider-Man as Spider-Man, I want to fear Venom. Like I want him to be the biggest threat we've faced in these games.
Yeah. I like the thing with the Lethal Protector stuff is I'm like, especially with the movies and everything, there's just been it's this like this factor that goes into like as soon as something is introduced and follow suit because that's what's popular, right?
Yeah,
The Lethal Protector thing has to be earned, you know, like
yeah,
a when there's two more games or three more games and Harry is still Venom, but he's like in control. Sure, I'm fine with that. But right now, the whole point that's why the spider is on the chest. That's why he swings around like Spider-Man on walls. Like he's not just some like black gooey strong guy
yeah.
that's just like throwing tentacles all over the place. Like that's not what he is, you know. And he's not all funny and Tom whatever. The like the ferocious, almost animalistic, just feral side of Venom,
Yes.
and he's ripping things like it's just that is Venom, and so it makes me think of the Ultimate Spider-Man game, and just in past incarnations of like before these movies,
Yeah.
where um we get to see this Venom being monstrous. He's a monster. He's like Todd McFarlane like, is the creator of like Spawn, and he creates these really intricate like that's his thing, right? Is these
Yeah.
like very dark and gritty characters. So Venom is perfect. This is one of my favorite designs he has ever had. I
Yeah.
love it. Um, yeah, so that's the high point for me. Everything else looks really good. The story intrigues me a lot. I don't know if there's people that are like upset that Harry might be Venom, but like I personally enjoy it. You know, I think it would have felt weird for Eddie to kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So and there's still a chance that they could be curveballing us, and it's not actually Harry. You know, this could be some deception. They may not even show us in the game until the end. Like, is he actually Venom? But you know, it's almost confirmed. You know,
Yeah, I think
um,
that that's just they're really heavily hinting at it, especially with that line that says "We're gonna heal the world." Harry
yeah,
says it, and then Venom says it at the very end of the trailer.
yeah,
That just really makes me feel like that confirms that, and that's why they're really putting a big focus on that relationship between Peter and Harry. So, I don't I would not rule out like later on down the line in their universe that like Eddie Brock becomes Venom if they decide to go that
sure,
lethal
yeah.
protector route. I wouldn't be shocked if they do that, but for this game and this
Mhm.
story, I think that it just makes sense for Harry Osborn to be Venom, which is something that I've accepted and I definitely think is going to work for this game.
Yeah. The vibes, I know people are gonna be roll their eyes, they're gonna groan. But honestly, like this seems like they're kind of with the Harry and Peter kind of dynamic and their relationship, it feels very The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to me.
Yes.
But I mean, listen, say what you will about The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love that film. I know it's a mess, right? I know
Yeah.
it's a mess. But I enjoyed that part of that movie. I didn't like the goblin design or whatever, but it's the same thing. It's like he's sick, he's been gone for a while. They're reestablishing this connection, this friendship, but there's something else that's going on. It's a little different. Like I do not know the actor, so I need to clarify. I know one of the actors involved in bringing Harry to life. He actually played Ben 10 in one of the live action Ben 10 films, which is
Yeah.
funny because Yuri Lowenthal was also Ben 10
Yeah.
in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. So I think that's a really funny connection.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the facial capture and the voice, or if he's just doing the voice. Either way, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's one of those instances where, like, with Najee Jeter, he's doing the face and the voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that will lead me into a discussion later where I love Miles's design and I think he looks amazing. But yeah, I think my only we'll go ahead and get into I guess maybe the controversy of the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
which is and it's really dumb controversy. I'm not really worked up by it, but there's a lot of discourse going on about the designs of the characters. So we already talked about Miles. I think Miles looks great. I love the hairdo. I've always wanted him to have something other than a buzz cut or a fade.
Yeah.
That's what they always give him in the comics. I'm like, dude, like as he gets older, let him get some different cool
Yeah.
hairstyles. With Harry, I think he looks good. I wish his hair was a little bit curlier because that's what it kind of seemed like in the
Yeah.
original pictures.
In the
But they
original
didn't really
artwork.
have yeah, they didn't really have a design yet down. So I'm not Harry. I don't really care about. I think he looks like Harry Osborn should, and he looks a lot like his dad, which I
Yes.
like. That you can see that they're definitely father and son. Um, with Peter, I'm a little underwhelmed because I thought he was gonna look better. You know, in
Yeah.
my opinion, I thought he looked really good in the cutscenes of Miles Morales. I just didn't think he looked great in the remastered.
Yeah.
And my biggest complaint was that his face was very very sheeny, and he had kind of a dumb hairstyle. Well, they changed his hairstyle, and to be honest, I think it looks worse. But
Yeah.
like, and yes, he is a little buffer, which I'm cool with. I
Yeah.
love me a buff Peter Parker, but he kind of just looks. I don't know, something about him looks off. Where I'm like, I was expecting my expectations were a little bit higher because I've never once I accepted that Ben Jordan was the new face of Peter Parker. You and I have discussed. You look at pictures of him in real life,
Yeah.
and he looks great. His hair is perfect. Like he looks like Peter Parker. I could totally see it.
Yeah.
And this kind of leads me into the biggest one that is floating around in terms of like what I've seen in the controversy is Mary Jane.
Hmm.
Um, before I even give my thoughts on that, I just feel like you mentioned this. We were texting about it, and you mentioned that like if they had to go back, they probably would have casted facial actors that were closer to Yuri Lowenthal and Laura Bailey,
Hmm.
and people like that. So they're kind of I mean I don't really know if Insomniac really ever did a whole lot of facial capture before Spider-Man. Like that was really their first like in detail facial
True.
capture. Like they're not Naughty Dog, they're not Santa Monica Studios. Like this is really that was their first attempt at it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Peter, I'm like whatever about Miles, love Harry. I like the one that I think is just to me looks night and day, but like not in a good way. And this is where we're gonna disagree. I
Yeah.
think is Mary Jane. I have a picture. Whenever we put a clip of this, I'll try to put this picture up, and it was showing what they look like from the first game to the second game, right? And it was Peter's new design, and then MJ and Miles. MJ doesn't look like the same person at all. In fact, she looks like I don't she looks I don't know if they now here's the thing. I will put aside my thoughts on that if they went out and say, "Oh, we also changed the face for MJ too." But personally, I never had a problem with the face of MJ. And I followed her actress on Instagram for a little while. Like I always thought the actress was a great face for MJ.
Hmm.
And now I look at the new face for MJ and I'm like, what happened? Like I don't know. And I'm like, it may be another one of those instances where they changed her face because I mean yeah, like you said, Laura Bailey doesn't really look a lot like the facial reference.
Yeah.
So that might be the thing. But from what I know, unless you know this, they did not change the face.
Mm-mm.
It just looks a lot different.
So here's
And it
my question. So is
yeah.
this a very similar situation to the Spider-Man remaster? Because I think we both can agree, like if they had started with Ben Jordan's facial scan, we probably would have never thought anything about it and been like,
Yeah.
is it just like because it's so different, it's jarring? Because that was like my hang up on the Switch in the first, from the
Yeah.
first game to the remaster was that like it wasn't that it was bad, it was just so jarring to me that it was so different. So do
Right.
you look at it and are you like, oh, this just doesn't look good, or are you like, this doesn't look like the same thing I saw before?
It, so it's similar but different. Where with Peter Parker from the transition to Ben Jordan, I was like, oh, that's different. But I got used to it because I was like, from the beginning, I could like see him as Peter Parker. Other than I think he looks a little like a little too young for being
Hmm.
kind of 23 and someone who goes out all day and night fighting crime. Probably should have a little bit of look a little older, a little more stressed out, I guess. But
Yeah.
either way, with MJ, I think she looks completely different, and I think she doesn't even look like the. It's not like a equal but different. It just feels like it's like, oh, that doesn't look like what MJ should look like at all, in my
Mm.
opinion. And I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, she looks 40, looks like she has like two kids, and I'm like, I find those like that's very harsh. But
Yeah.
I do think I'm like, okay, her hair is different. Her like I looked at like that comparison picture, and I'm like, her nose is different. her jawline is different, her lips are different. Like nothing about it is the same. So it just feels like I'm looking at like a different person with the voice of MJ. With Peter, and this might just be a thing, like your question, it may just be a thing that I get used to over time. We only really saw 2 scenes, but in both of the scenes, I was kind of like, oh, all right, well, I guess that's MJ now. But I don't know. And here's my thing is I don't think I would be as bothered if this was more of a norm for games, but I think
Yeah.
to like, you know, I think
It's like
about
an Insomniac thing.
yeah,
That's
that's
what it's
what it
starting to
feels
feel
like.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think about like God of War to God of War Ragnarok, right? And I'm
Sure.
like, the only people that look different is Atreus, and that's because he's older,
Yeah.
and it's just. But and here's the thing is with that is that's why I think Najee Jeter looks so good is because he's the face and the voice, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
like with Spider-Man stuff, it's most of these actors are not the face and the voice. You know, I think the exceptions are Miles and Otto, and I think someone who looks great, didn't even mention him, is Mr. Negative.
Yes.
Martin Lee, it's fantastic. And that's
Yeah.
because he's the voice and the face. So I don't think they struggle at all when it comes down to synchronizing. Like if it's one person doing it both,
Sure.
I think the struggle that they're finding is they might be. I don't know. I'm not a developer, so Insomniac, if you're listening to this, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I promise. I'm still super excited. I'm gonna buy this game. I'm gonna get the limited edition console and the controller. I promise. All right. But it's just like one of those things that like when I think of these other like really high standard PlayStation games, it feels a little bit like it feels different. Like even
Yeah.
with The Last of Us, I think about the difference between 1 and 2, right? And it's like you can play Last of Us 1 from 2013 and play Last of Us Part 2, and the faces look different.
Hmm.
But like you can like if you compare them to but to be honest, I never even noticed until I put them side by side. They did the same thing with the Uncharted games from Uncharted 3 to Uncharted 4. I was like, oh, Nathan Drake, when you compare them side by side, he does look different, but to me, like he looks like an older Nathan Drake. So, um, anyway, that's my whole rant. Like, some people are like super butthurt by this thing. I know people were also really butthurt by, the Peter Parker change. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm playing the game
No.
regardless. I'll get over it. I don't really care.
It's got to
Like,
take
it's still
something
gonna be fun.
dramatic to like make me
They
be
gotta,
upset about anything.
yeah,
Like
yeah, they
I
gotta tell me like,
personally
oh, we're taking photo mode out of the game, and I'm gonna be like, what? Why?
nah.
Like, you're gonna use this great environment and lighting, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be able to take pictures and do free marketing for you? Come on now.
That'd be tragic.
Like,
I
I'm an idiot. Photo
personally
mode.
like you kind of like hinted at it. I love the MJ design personally. I do agree with
Yeah,
you that it looks completely different, but I also didn't
yeah,
love the design of her in the first game because
yeah.
I actually have the art book, the concept like has concept art from when they were
Mhm.
making the first game. And this design actually kind of looks similar to something that it looks like they were thinking about going for at some point in time with MJ's design. And I was like, really dig that. I didn't like the first design because she almost looked plastic to me. I don't know if that's the best way to describe her,
Yeah,
but
makes
like
sense.
the way even the hair falls, like it didn't feel like I was looking at something like a human. I know it's an animated thing, but like
Yeah,
she just looked really stiff and plasticky to me, almost like a doll. Like that's the way
right.
I saw her. Whereas this, I think she really looks like a woman. Like, and I
Oh,
think she
yeah,
looks like a woman, a reporter in like New York City. Like that's the vibe I get.
yeah,
Like she doesn't look, like she'd be in over her head. She looks like she's confident in like I had this new role and I know where I stand, and she just looks like she has like this different sense of security. She's matured. That's just the
yeah,
vibe that I get from her, but I agree that she definitely does look different. I've seen
yeah.
it both ways. I've seen people talk about how crappy it looks, and I've seen people talk about how hot she looks. Like, I saw this one person, somebody tweeted it and said, "Never mind, bring back the MJ missions," and I like died. Like, I was like, I was like,
That's so funny,
that's a
dude.
good. That's a
I
good line.
I think honestly, like if I was still in I guess we never even talked about this. This might be a good discussion to have. Um, is I think you're right. Like if we're going for this kind of reporter, like more this certain direction for MJ, I don't think I'd be mad about the decision. I haven't talked to you about this because we've not seen each other in quite some time.
Yeah.
We need to hang out. Let's get a beer, bro.
Yes.
I was thinking, and I don't think I ever liked it. I just never really thought about it. I don't like MJ as a reporter. I think we've talked about this. I don't
You might
know.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that is probably the one thing is to me it feels like what Insomniac is trying to say is like she cannot be strong and competent or whatever it may be while being a model and an actress. Because to
Hmm.
me, MJ is always a model and an actress, and I've read tons of great stories where she is that, and she is Peter's rock and foundation, and
Yeah.
she still helps him out. She's the mother to his daughter, and like she's there like once Aunt May is no longer in the picture. That's kind of that role she serves. So I think that was kind of they're like we want to make her look more like a reporter. She's not a model in this universe. So I mean, I don't know if they ever say that she did do any
I don't think
modeling.
so.
So like that might be if that's the kind of like the lenses I put on, then I'm like, oh, okay, well then I'm not really worried about it. But to me, I've always viewed MJ as like, she's a model. Like she's like this almost like on this weird level of beauty that like no other girl Peter
Yeah.
has ever seen is like, right? And that just is how it kind of is wired in my brain. But I forget that, oh yeah, Insomniac version is not a model, never
Different.
was a model.
Very
Yeah,
different version of
she's
MJ.
you were saying that, and I was like, oh, she looks more like Lois Lane. That's what she looks
Yes,
like.
exactly. I
Yeah,
was just about to
yeah.
ask you, doesn't this version of her look like Lois Lane?
It
And
looks like Lois Lane, and to be honest, that's how I've always kind of felt about the character. Is that they were like, well, like we don't really like her as a model, so we're gonna make her a reporter like Lois Lane. And I'm
yeah,
like, that's an interesting take. I don't love it, but I'm not like up in arms about it. I don't get mad about these things like that. I like
not worth it.
there's hundreds of versions of Mary Jane and Spider-Man. They can like it would be hypocritical of me to be upset about that, but then not upset about, Harry Osborn as Venom. Like I
Yeah,
almost prefer in this universe that Harry Osborn is Venom. Some
yeah,
people diehard Venom fans might not. Um so I think it's cool to have discourse. I'm not worried about it. And I'll, honestly, in probably a year, when we do some episode or it's like, oh, 1 year anniversary of Spider Bros or whatever, we're talking and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care actually. Like
yeah.
there's gonna be moments in the game where I'm like, oh, all right, well, never mind.
Absolutely will
So
happen that way.
yeah. Plus, like to be honest, like every single like it. I know like Peter and MJ are like two of the main anchors of the story, but it's like when everybody else looks so good, when Craven and Miles and Venom and Harry and Norman and Martin Lee and J. Jonah Jameson, like they all look phenomenal. Like I'm not gonna get upset about Peter
Yeah.
and MJ. So
I
um,
definitely like when I look at Peter and Miles, when I see Miles, I'm just like, yeah, I'm like that
yeah,
looks good. Like
dope.
I
Yeah,
have no complaints. Like
yeah,
he looks like Najee. Like I love Najee, man. Like I enjoy
yeah.
following him on social media. I think he's
He's
just
such a
like
hype guy.
yes, he's just like he seems just like a great person. I think he really
Mhm.
enjoys playing the character, which whenever somebody enjoys playing the character, it gets me even more excited because I,
Oh
I
yeah.
love when they, love that character. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think like expanding beyond like the facial graphics and stuff like that, I think that just like graphically this game is starting to like come together. I think that the trailer that we saw is like probably from a newer build than the actual gameplay that we got to
Yeah.
see like a little over a month ago. And I know you're not on Twitter, but um, one of the community directors or social media managers quote tweeted somebody who like, had like pictures saying this game looks so good, and he quote tweeted it and said it's gonna look even better like when it launches,
They
and
have it.
that
Yeah.
gets me even more excited because they still have 3 more months to
Hmm.
polish this game out and make it look even better and give it that like
Yeah.
PS5 feel, and I think they're heading in that direction. If you've played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I know that's like a highly animated game and there's no facial animations or anything like that, but that game graphically, it's like you're playing a Pixar movie. It is so
Yeah.
good, and that just
Yeah.
shows like the level of detail that they're going to be able to put into this game.
Yeah. There was some. I wanted to mention a specific part in the trailer because I'm sure you've watched it a lot more than I have. I think I watched it like 3 times, and I was like, okay, I think I've got everything in my head. But
Yeah,
there's a scene where I believe he's trying to capture Connors in lizard form,
yeah,
and the lizard screaming, and you see the symbiote kind of going haywire. Like from what I know, it's probably because of the sonic vibrations of
Yeah.
the scream. It's causing the symbiote to like freak out. But one thing I noticed is that I don't know if it's because of that scene, but even then, the symbiote looks way more monstrous in that scene. Like, I don't know if it's because of the sonic vibrations that's causing it to like maybe fall off of Peter. But even then, I feel like that looked like a part that was further in the game,
Yeah.
and where the symbiote is starting to take over Peter even more. Can't be for sure, but it definitely kind of feeds into that speculation that the symbiote might be like, as the game progresses,
Gets more.
more and more, yeah, like it gets more alien looking, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like I'm
I
almost
definitely
expecting
could see
kind of
that
a
happening.
like in the first game, right? You start off with the classic suit, and you're like, the classic Spider-Man suit, and then a few missions in, you get the advanced suit.
Yeah.
That's almost how I feel. Is like as soon as we get the black suit, it's gonna be that classic
It's
symbiote
gonna
suit,
evolve.
right? Like, and then yeah, it's gonna evolve over time, which I personally love that, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but that was a cool little detail that I noticed. Back to the Martin Lee thing, I think that's gonna be a really awesome story beat.
Yes,
Um,
dude. Oh
it,
my gosh. That's gonna be huge for Miles in this game.
yeah,
I want
I
to
did
see how
not
it ties
expect
in.
that.
No, me either. Like it's nothing that I've put much thought into because there's so much focus on like Venom and Craven. So you're not really thinking about that, but that's gonna be huge because like I don't know. I feel like that's gonna be really emotional, and I really want to see where like Martin Lee's head is at, too. Like, does he want to change, become better? It kind of looks like he just escaped. He's got like looks like he's still got his like prison clothes on
Yeah.
too. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a prison break happening or if he's out of prison. It seems like something's going on. Um, honestly, like I could easily see Wraith being involved. We see her like a silhouette of her in the trailer. I could see her being involved in some sort of prison break, and Martin Lee kind of gets out, and Miles encounters him, and he's like, really pissed that he's trying to escape. That also brings the potential for all the other villains to come back, enough for
yes.
another prison break, and most importantly, Otto, which I think would be a very interesting moment. Because both Otto and Martin Lee kind of serve those roles of like they're not on Peter and Miles's good sides right now. So, um, and I think in that shot he's wearing like Peter's wearing the red and blue suit, but I don't know, man. I mean, this story trailer has given us even more to speculate on in terms of like where everything aligns in the story. Is there any trailer trickery, which I'm almost guaranteeing is going to happen? It's happened in the past.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Um,
like we know nothing. Like when it comes down
yeah,
to it, we really don't know anything. They're gonna mess with us. They're not. They're like when something seems obvious, like red flag right there. Like it's not what it seems. Going back to the
right.
prison break thing, I think it'd be pretty interesting if like I don't know, like Craven's somehow responsible for this prison break where like all these villains are scattered throughout New York City now. And now you're like, Craven wants to probably hunt and kill these villains, whereas like
Yeah,
Peter and Miles are like trying to like get these guys back in prison, before
yeah.
Craven. And who knows? There's like there's villains everywhere in the city, and maybe there's something to that. But um,
I can see that. I could see him like letting loose all of the prisoners and um
hunting them
for his own like just like you know what he wants to throw them all out
for the
there in this
thrill of the
concrete
hunt.
jungle.
And then
Hmm.
you got Wraith, like who's also kind of wanting to kill certain villains because she's
Yeah,
kind of like anti uh, justice system now, and she's like,
yeah,
you just got to kill these guys to get rid of them. So
yeah.
there's like that whole dynamic.
I'm curious what role she's gonna play in this. There's just so many characters that I'm like, how big are these characters gonna be? I personally would love as well if Felicia would come back, if Black Cat would come back. I don't. I mean, they say in that very first gameplay trailer, we see that her picture is still in New York City.
Yeah.
So I don't remember, to be honest. I only played the DLC once, so I think all of them one time through. That was enough for me. The but I don't think she like leaves or goes away or
I don't
anything.
know.
Like I don't
I
remember.
know she
Somebody
shows
tell us
up
in
in
the
the third
comments.
chapter of it, but because she like
Yeah,
faked her death or whatever, and then she comes
yeah,
back. Um, I don't know. That'd be pretty interesting, though. I mean,
yeah.
there's so much to speculate on,
Hmm.
so many possibilities, and whatever our speculation is, just like double it times two. Like Insomniac's gonna
Yeah.
deliver, even if
Oh
it's
yeah.
not what we want it to be. Like they're gonna deliver in a major way to like really satisfy us, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Another thing I wanted to talk about is how, what do you think about I mentioned it very briefly in my little mini rant, but the controller and I guess the console, but really the shells. Keenan's happy about it. Keenan's very
Dude,
happy.
like I was very concerned. So I actually found a like a YouTube channel that was streaming this, like the panel, but I found it
Mm.
towards the end of the panel, like right when that was happening, and they were like, "Yeah, we got something to show you guys," and I thought a trailer was happening, and the guy like puts his phone down towards his feet, like while the trailer started playing, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I'm like, "I want to watch this like." 480p footage of this new trailer,
Yeah.
and all I do is hear it, and then he like lifts it up when it comes up, and it's like the console and the
Yeah.
controller. I was like, God, I was kind of heartbroken, even though it looked beautiful. I was like, I can't buy another
You can't.
PlayStation. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
justify. If it'd be one thing if we didn't already have our PS5s and we're like, yeah, we're waiting
Right.
for this moment to like get this console, but then they
Right.
come out and they're like, yeah, I'm like, you can get the plate separate too, and you can get the
Yeah.
controller separate as well. And I'm
Let's
like,
go.
okay, like absolutely, that's a
Yeah.
must buy. I think they're just
That
beautiful.
that's such a genius thing because for context, I have the PS4 Pro, and that was my first PlayStation or PS4 that I had. I did not have the PS4 up until that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, for that, like, there was no what they couldn't do the plates
Yeah.
thing, you know. And now I'm like, so when I saw the console, I was like, bro, I was like, man, can't get the matching set. But then I'm like, oh, I still have the white shells on mine. Time to get some new ones, I guess. And then because I saw it and I was like, man, I want that controller. I can't get the console. And then you told me you're like, oh, but the plates and the controller are separate. I went, let's go. All right,
Yes.
we're back on top. Like I'm gonna
Dude,
get it.
oh my god, dude. Absolutely. I mean, like I'm sure the controller is going to be $100. The plates are probably going to be pushing. I think the God of War Ragnarok controller was $100
Yeah.
in that range, so I won't be surprised if the controller is as well. Thankfully, if you buy it from the PlayStation Store, they like charge your card, but then they don't charge your card. They like kind of refund it and then they charge it when it ships. So
Okay.
you kind of have like a little bit of time if you need to add a little bit of funds to your account. But I mean, those are like must gets. I think that they're so well designed, and it is gonna break my heart to have to like put away my purple and pink plates because I do love
Yeah.
them. If you, I mean, you watch my channel, like you've known for the longest time, purple and pink are like my favorite colors, especially for
Oh
like
yeah.
gaming and whatnot. So it's gonna be heartbreaking to put that away, but yeah, I
Hey,
feel
red
like,
and black isn't a bad substitute
dude,
either.
once those go on, I don't think they're coming off. To be honest,
Yeah.
like I think that's it until the PS6 comes out. Honestly,
Oh God, I don't want to talk about that. That's gonna be
yeah.
like $800, dude.
But that
Oh,
was a very well kept secret because they said at one point in time that they weren't going to do a controller, and
I know that, and I was like, bro, this is the biggest game of the year. You're not gonna do a controller, like at the very least. Come on now.
I know I'm like
They're like,
Hogwarts got a
you're kidding.
controller, and we're not getting one for
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Like Hogwarts is even a PlayStation
Yeah,
game.
it's
What
like
is
what is
this?
this? No, that was like sad, but now I'm happy. I'm really excited
Yeah.
to get it. Like I'm a sucker for merch for Marvel Spider-Man, so
Yeah.
I want all the
Oh,
things.
another thing I want to talk about, we get into some more debate, but not really debate. It's
Okay.
more so like, so in one point in your reaction, you were talking about we get a really good shot in-game render of the Advanced Suit Mark II or 2.0, whatever.
Yeah.
The colors, dude, amazing. I
Perfect.
completely agree with you. I I don't know if I maybe have to, again, I'm forgetting, it's been a while. I don't know if I've talked about this. I have two critiques of the suit.
Okay.
And one of them is more is still a critique on the original suit, but it wasn't as bad. And that is, I wish the suit, I don't like the minor thing is the belt. I call it the crotch indicator because it points down and he's like, "Here's my wiener." Hello, Scorpion.
It's
Here's my
literally-
crotch.
Yeah, it's literally an arrow.
Yeah, I'm like, I think it's a cool design, but I'm like, I definitely like the more like, connected belt.
Sure.
But the other thing that I really wish I think would make the suit perfect was some sort of boots or lines connecting down to the boots. I've seen some people kind of some people have thrown out like concepts or edits or whatever where they've not done like full on just like square boots, like the original suit, but that like lines have like gone down and it's kind of like had partial red and it just gave a nice contrast.
Sure.
I think seeing that the full suit in the game, I was like, ah man, like it basically, in my opinion, like it looks like red from the waist up and then blue from the waist down, and I was like, I wish he had something to for those boots, but that's
No,
all.
no,
I mean, I
no.
still
You're right. I mean, that was
yeah
one of my initial critiques of the suit to begin with. I was like, there needs to be a little bit of red on the legs, you know?
yeah
It's grown on me
'cause-
for sure, though. Like, over
yeah
time, I think I've come to accept it. They didn't give a good shot of it, but if you look at the Hot Toys
mhm,
figure, like, the back of, like, the heel kind of going up, he kind of has, like, that weird,
yeah
I don't know, back of the heel going up the leg. There is, like, a
yeah
pretty big section of red, like that
yeah
nice cherry red. But that's obviously like the foot area. It's
yeah
missing it on the legs, I think. But
yeah. What I'm really hoping is that, I'm imagining the first advanced suit is going to be in the game, and I hope with the color options and everything, they let us have that classic, like basically the color palette that's on the new suit on the first suit. Um,
yes,
because I've seen it, I think even on PC for Spider-Man Remastered, the suit looks really red and blue. And that is my basically my only critique with the first suit. Is I really just want the colors to be a little bit more saturated.
if they
Um,
just saturated the colors and then put the white spider within like the chest area,
mhm,
like how they have it for the new suit, then it would have been like a
yeah,
flawless suit. Like that's all they would need to do for me to be happy. But
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
But
like I'm still excited.
To me, Miles's suit, just the red lines on the arms. I don't know why. Some people don't like them. I love them. I
Yeah,
think they're so clean, and just seeing the textures on the suit in the new trailer, like like they just when you put them next to each other, like, oh yeah, it's like Miles and Spider-Man, but then you like really get up close and you just see kind of like this reflective texture that's on Miles, which I think has
yeah,
always been there since Miles
yeah.
Morales, but it just in this game, dude, it looks so good. Like that's really the main thing is the graphical fidelity in this trailer is just incredible. It's so good.
It makes me so excited, man.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
just
I'm
the graphics are incredible, like, but the lighting improvements that they've made is just stunning.
mhm,
Like, and I mentioned it in one of my videos. I can't remember which one it was, but I talked about how with the advanced suit, I was waiting to see what it would look like in the daylight. And there are
mhm.
two shots that you get with the new advanced suit, straight in the
Broad daylight.
daylight, because like in the original game, if you had it during like sunset or nighttime, it did look like a cherry red and a nice blue.
Mhm.
But once you got into that daylight setting, it was straight up orange. Like
Orange. Yeah.
there was no red in it to be seen. Whereas this one, we got the shots of like the daylight, and I was just like, perfect. I'm like, I'm ready to go. They fixed my
Yeah.
biggest critique. So
I can't wait till we get into seeing more of the suits. That's really at this point. I'm already at the point now where I'm like, all right, I've seen enough. I've seen enough story. I don't want any more story. Don't show me anymore.
yeah, I'm the
Maybe give
same.
me, yeah. I'm like, I want to go fully in blind, but like, I just want to see more of New York City swinging around, like, and when they hopefully they do maybe a Game Informer or something like that, and I just started showing me a little bit of these suits, man.
Here
Like,
we go.
you know,
This is what we have been missing so far from what they've revealed. And I don't know if there's like intent behind it or not, but Insomniac, if you're watching this, I'm still waiting to see the web swinging because so far we've gotten a little bit of Miles web swinging, and it looked
yep.
very similar to what we've already saw, minus the web wings. And I get that they probably wanted to use that opportunity to really show off the web wings. Like
Yeah.
that's one of their big new features that they're really excited about, and I'm excited about too. But Insomniac, we want the web swinging videos.
Yeah, I love
We
it, man.
want the web swinging videos. Like I want to see tricks. I want to see how fast you can go. I want to see what other
Yeah,
physics there are. I'm waiting for that video to come out. So I don't know if they do like an IGN thing or a Game Informer thing where
Yeah.
they like, have like, you know, literally if they can just show off like some free roam for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that
Dude,
would be it. That's
please.
all the marketing I need left, like to get me
Yeah.
excited.
I want to see some new crimes. You got some
Yes.
new street crimes, please. I want to see like I just want to kind of get like a not I don't want a full-blown overview of every single thing that you're
Yeah.
ever going to do. I just want a little bit a sprinkle of some of the collectibles maybe, some of the side missions like, like just maybe one thread of side missions like just one, the activities
They're
like
gonna open
in New
up the
York
map
City.
and it's just gonna be like all
Yeah.
the stuff that you can
Just
do.
yeah. I'm like I'm hyped, man. I'm
Yeah.
hyped and it's not too
Oh,
far now.
if they want to show off some Brooklyn too, that'd be pretty cool. I
I
do
want,
want to
yeah, I
see
want to
that.
see some of these other boroughs. Like, I think that'd be sick. I don't know when the next thing we're gonna get. I mean, it's gonna ramp up at this point now. Like we've gotten, the gameplay reveal, and now we've gotten the main story trailer. I'm sure we will get, you know, I'm sure we'll get some small gameplay coverage and probably honestly, I would be fine if the last trailer that they show off is like a week before the game comes out. I'm sure we're gonna start getting like TV spots and stuff too, so that the
Yes.
general audience is more aware. Like, oh, this game's out or coming out now.
I always enjoy the
But
little TV spots that are like semi live action.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love that stuff.
that
Hopefully
was
they get that.
we were holding on to those with a tight grip for the first year.
Bro,
We were
like
like,
every video I had was just repeating that little clip of them like swinging for 5 seconds. This is live
yeah,
for PS5. Like,
yeah. I'm like, oh my god, dude. Yeah, we need more, please.
yeah,
Honestly, I'm really hoping. It seems like it's inevitable that we'll get another state of play within by the end of the year. I
yeah,
don't know,
or a
or
showcase. That
showcase. Yeah,
PlayStation needs to give us the real showcase, not this fake one that they delivered. What was it,
yeah.
like
They
a
were
month
like,
ago?
yeah, dude.
No,
I I'm hearing rumors right now that you know that Last of Us Part Two might be getting a director's cut on the PS5, and I'm like, I'm a schmuck. Give it to me. I'm like,
yeah.
they still have the Last of Us multiplayer. What happened to Bloodborne? What happened to that remake, huh?
Was
Or
the multiplayer got delayed or something, or
it
they're just
did,
like
yeah.
put it on hold or something like that?
I think it got delayed mainly from the show and also like I'm sure Sony didn't want to also release it simultaneously with like one of the most anticipated games of all time.
Sure.
Um, or not of all time, but like in a recent memory,
Yeah.
And plus GTA 6 reveal seems like it could be pretty soon with a lot of the stuff that's going on around.
Yeah,
So
we need it's
there
time.
is
It's time for
it's
like a showcase that really blows us away and overwhelms
just give
us.
me Just give me 5 games. That's all
Yeah.
I want. Give me some Last of Us. Give me some other stuff. I don't want 18 farming simulators. All right. I don't want 37 JRPGs. All right. Like that's enough.
Yeah.
If you like those games, more power to you. I don't. Uh,
No,
I
we
like
want the
Spider-Man.
heavy hitters to deliver, and now that this Call of Duty thing is officially over, like we can
Thank
move on.
God.
There is no need to hold back anything
Yes.
anymore. I couldn't care which way it went. I was just so tired about hearing it. Like from
Yes.
I was tired of the PlayStation fans talking about it. I was tired about the Xbox fans talking about it. I was just like, who cares? I'm like, just show me the games that I want to play. Like that's
Yeah.
all I want. So
I believe
it's time to move on.
we almost just didn't see, I still think back on the the showcase and they're like, man, they're really just not gonna show Spider-Man, huh? Like and then yeah, and then that was
I mean, my
man.
reaction, I remember I was just like, what the heck game is this? I was like, I thought it like maybe an Uncharted
Rice
or
for
yeah, like or The Last of Us or something. I'm like, they're in the woods. I'm like, this can't be a Spider-Man game. And then it was a
Spider-Man doesn't have
Spider-Man
trees.
game. Yeah, I was just like, what is this game? And then I
They're just
thought
in like
maybe it was Wolverine, but
oh bro. Imagine if
I
they
was
showed
still
off Wolverine
excited.
before.
But
Yeah. That's also another thing is I'm like I want a little bit I know we're probably not gonna get anything on that for a while, but
yeah, that one's a
but
little
yeah.
ways out, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, is there anything else we need to talk about in this trailer? We've kind of gone on this whole ramble. I really should have wrote down more notes about specific points, but honestly, I was just like, oh yeah, this game looks good.
Trying to think. Okay, so just one quick thing that I thought was a really cool moment from the trailer, and I think it's going to be a massive turning point in this game is the conversation that Spider-Man or Peter's having with Rio on at
Mm.
the window. And I think that that's going to be a huge turning point for Peter in this game. And I think it's going to be an emotional moment. So that I love that they showed that. It gave us a little bit of everything tonally, because we kind of got Peter quipping about, oh, I didn't know there was bears in this jungle or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you're still getting the quipping Peter, which is probably early on in the game. And then
Yeah.
you got the darker side where you got MJ hiding behind a wall as symbiote Peter's like going through this hallway, and it's like this red and blue lighting. And I was like, this looks like a horror game right here. Like, she's hiding from
Yeah.
freaking Peter as
I know. I was like, what's
symbiote
happening?
Spider-Man. I was just like, is she really fearing for her life? So there's a lot of really good nuggets,
Mhm.
a bunch of scenes that don't last more than a second, but like gives you a little bit, to look forward to. So overall, I mean, it's just a flawless trailer.
Yeah, it's a bunch of little snippets, but I still need to go back and look at that scene because I some people have been pointing out like MJ, and I'm like sitting there like what? Like as I'm watching it, I'm like,
No,
where's that at?
no, you have to, dude. It's so good, and I'll send you like a still of it or whatever, and you can look at it
Yeah,
after the podcast. But it literally looks like it's straight out of a horror movie. The way that she is just hiding behind this wall, as it honestly looks like this creature, like this monstrous look. Um, it's incredible, man. I mean,
got a theory for you, Keenan.
okay, I'm hearing it. Let's go.
And this is there's guaranteed probably not going to happen, but mark my words or don't. You're talking about in a previous podcast episode that apparently in the comics, MJ and Peter's relationship isn't going too great from what it seems. What if? All right, what if? I feel like it's sinful even saying this. What if Harry as Venom kills MJ in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Mm,
Because Gwen does not exist. What if
yeah,
this is a different universe where MJ is not the love of Peter's life, you know? Like
yeah. And
I don't know.
Insomniac
I
did say that, or they basically said that Gwen isn't dead in their universe, or somebody
yeah,
mentioned
and it's
something about that, and they're like, they respond, "Who said Gwen's dead in our
yep,
universe?"
I remember
Um,
that.
so that would be really tough, man. That would be
Yeah.
brutal.
Someone is dying in this game. I'm letting you know. And honestly, like the cliche answer is, oh, Harry Osborn's gonna die, right? But like
Yeah,
honestly, that feels too safe. I don't think Craven is dying. I don't think Norman is dying. I don't think Miles nor Rio are dying in this game. Um, Probably not Genki. Honestly, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh man, if Insomniac's gonna pull another heavy hitter, like it's gonna be MJ, you know.
yeah.
But I don't know. I was only basing that because you were telling me about how the relationship had been going in this prequel comic, and I'm like, I thought it was like, oh, they might break up in this game again. But I'm like, but that would be a little weird to be like, oh, they broke up and they got back together and they're
Well,
breaking up again. Like, oh, this
somebody's
is annoying.
I think it might have been Laura Bailey said at the panel, but
Hmm.
it contradicted the whole thing with the relationship in the prequel comic, where they were kind of
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, because in the prequel comic, it's like, oh, they're struggling to, like things are awkward in their relationship, and
Yeah.
then in this one, she kind of like was like, I think it had to be her, maybe it was Brian and Dar, mentioned something
Hmm.
about like, oh, their relationship's finally going well and stuff, and I'm like, if their relationship's going well, that's a sign for me that MJ's dead, like already dead. Like, oh, they're finally figuring it out and they finally got it together and they're happy and got it all, and then
Yes.
she's dead. Like, that would be the
Yeah.
heartbreaking thing. It's like Peter finally, Peter and MJ finally figured things out
I don't
and
know if I'd emotionally
managed to be
recover, to be
together.
honest. Like,
No.
they're like, F you, Peter. Or Aunt May dead. The next year, MJ dead. Harry might be dead. Like, like this Peter just
Yeah, I mean, he's just at lowest of low at that point in
yeah.
time. I couldn't
And you
imagine.
know what? I could see Insomniac doing it. Those sick, evil people. I'm just kidding. I don't know. We'll see. I just like to speculate. I'm like, I need to breathe.
Or it's
This
Peter
game's gonna
dying.
be great. Yeah. I honestly, I am 50-50 on it. I think
What
either.
if
I think.
what if he dies, but he doesn't die? Like it ends with us thinking
Oh,
that he's dead, but he's not actually dead. So then
that would be cool.
Insomniac's like, find out in 5 years whether or not Peter is actually
Yeah,
alive.
that would be crazy, bro. If they put on like a cliffhanger like that, or just that kind of twist, because then we would have had Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2 both leaving us with like massive cliffhangers that we're gonna have to wait years to figure out
Oh,
about. Like that. That's like when Infinity War ended and me and you walked out of the theater. Like at least we only had to wait a year for that, you know.
yeah.
But like this, imagine like I don't want to think about that. I want
No.
to think happy thoughts. This game's gonna be great. And that is it. I have nothing else to say. Do you have anything else to say?
No, just looking forward to getting hyped for the next 3 months. We're at like officially
Yeah.
under 3 months now. It's just wild.
If I was gonna say something and I literally forgot it within the second that I said it. But yeah, I'm stoked. I cannot wait for me to get that controller because I need me a new controller. Um, I need more. I want more. I'm ready for it. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Spider Bros podcast. Thank you guys for listening on both Spotify and YouTube. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if all works out. You can check out Keenan at Comic Blast Keenan on YouTube and literally everywhere else except one of them. Is it
Twitter.
Twitter? It's at CB_Keenan.
Yeah, because freaking Twitter won't let me have a username that long. Twitter
Freaking
sucks, man.
Twitter. Yeah, it's
I'm so addicted to it, but it
yeah.
sucks.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shradester8. If you tweet at me or anything on Twitter, I won't be there for a while. Probably, I spend too much time on that app sitting there scrolling, so I'll be gone for a little while. But you can follow me still. I'll be back there eventually. Um, and yeah, that's all I got. We will catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys again for bearing with us through this hiatus, and hopefully very much here soon. Grammatically, does that make sense? I don't know.
It made
Um,
perfect sense to me.
awesome. You'll catch us soon.